Hey, what's up, everybody? Josh here with the Entrepreneur's Playbook, where we help 7- and 8-figure business owners ignite their financial superpowers. Here, as always, with Ron Parisi. Ron, how you doing this week?
Oh, doing great, Josh. Another podcast lined up, and here we are, probably the beginning of April, and we have another tax season under our belt. Hopefully, everybody on the call has got their taxes filed and feeling pretty comfortable about everything. I know there's always these last-minute folks and last-minute issues, but hopefully the audience is doing well, and you're doing well as well, Josh.
Yeah, I have to say, this is my first year that I'm not in the tax work. And I have to say that tax season goes much faster when you're not doing taxes for 10 to 14 hours a day.
Yeah, I was telling the team, I was like, there's 2 weeks left in tax season. It's good news and bad news. It's like it's going to be over, but there's always a lot to do before the deadline. So
Absolutely. So yeah, today we talked about discussing something that's big for most of our clients and a lot of business owners out there. And it's the topic of advertising and spending on advertising, and kind of how to know when you're getting a good return, when to know when to pivot, and all that good stuff. Yeah. What do you think about this topic? How do you want to kick this off?
yeah, sure. I guess 2 things, right? One is from my side, I don't look at advertising for my clients as an expense. I look at it as an investment. And really mentally, that's how you should look at it. You should always be looking at your ROI, your return on your investment when it comes to your marketing. And then I think right now, super important, my big mantra is no rear view accounting. And what that means is, right, so many people base everything off of what they did last year, what they did last month. And what we're seeing is ad spend and ROI on ad spends change dramatically. For some of my clients, it's really ticked up, and some of my clients it's ticked down. And I think the reason for the podcast is, just to help people think through that ad spend and that ROI, and that it needs your accounting is really just it's not necessarily accounting, it's projecting what you're going to do and what your business is going to do going forward. And this way you can make really solid business decisions. So instead of getting too hung up on the past and the ROI on your ad spend in the past, you really need to be as limber or have foresight going forward and react as fast as possible. Because we always say in December, fourth quarter, we look at, okay, what do we plan for doing for 24? That's usually some derivative off what you've done in the past, what you think your ad spend's, what your product's going to do. So when that ad spend starts to change, how fast can you react? And then what that means is how fast can you reproject your forward-looking numbers so you can make decisions based on those forward-looking numbers.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I think it goes back to 2 topics that we hit over and over again. And number one is, this is why it's so important to have these financials and be truly getting good bookkeeping, good financial statements so you can actually see what's happening. I can't imagine spending 6 figures or more on advertising and not having any type of system to see what that return is. And you and I see that all the time, where someone first comes to us and they've been doing nothing to track that. So you're just blindly throwing money at it. And number 2, like you mentioned, is going back to the forward looking. So many people just use their accounting as a backwards looking to see what they've done. And that's important. And that's what we use to go forward looking, but it has to go to the forward looking. That the backwards looking is almost meaningless other than using it to go forward. So yeah, I think this really hits on 2 topics we talk about all the time.
I think the one thing maybe we're remiss is just having current results, whether that's, I think at the end of the day, it's being able to have your results, right, very early in the month for last month, right? So then you can pivot, what I call course correct, right? Great businesses every month, right? We're looking at, okay, what are your big rocks that you're trying to move? And how are you responding to what's happening with the business, positive or negative, right? Because if the ad spend and the ROI is high, double down, right? Double down. And you want to do that as soon as possible, right? Because you don't know what the window looks like. And obviously you want to react as soon as possible if things are going well, or if the reverse, if things just aren't working well, right? Whatever it is, Meta, TikTok, I don't know, Instagram, whatever your methodology is on what you're doing. If it's not working, you need to correct, or if it is working, you need to respond very quickly. And that's the secret sauce to operating a successful business, is that course correction, immediate results, feedback, making business decisions to course correct and then just continuing that process month after month. So
Yeah. And I think this has always been an unpredictable area, right? Like I remember I've been working with online based business owners since 2012 ish. And it was always unpredictable. Google would change one little thing in their algorithm and it would just throw things way off. But in the last couple of years, it feels like it's just gotten completely unpredictable with AI and all these new platforms you can advertise on and just all the different options out there, all the competition that's out there that didn't used to be out there. So how does someone like you have one month that's different? Do you immediately make major adjustments? Do you wait a quarter? Do you wait a half a year? What do you think people should be looking at and how quickly should they be making adjustments?
yeah, it goes back to like your strategy, your marketing strategy, and how comfortable or confident you are in that strategy. You're going to have down months, and it's not to overcorrect, right? But again, how sound and how confident you are in your strategy and staying the course, and then conversely, right? That's the art of marketing, right? Is like how fast do you course correct, and that's up to the entrepreneur. And for us, it's giving them information so they can react very quickly, or at least digest it and know when to react. The last thing you want to do is be in the dark and just feeling your way around. That's not what you want to do. And why? So like me, I just, it's up to the entrepreneur. I can't give you an exact answer, but it really goes to the strength and the confidence you have in your marketing strategy first. And then two is, I think, just think about what we just experienced, Josh, right? So you and I have been in this business pre-COVID, right, for a long time. And right, so 2019, 2020 starts, boom, you're an online entrepreneur in 2020, right? All of a sudden your ad spend ROI probably goes 5x, right? It's just, then all of a sudden you enjoyed, and obviously it was a very tough year for our country. It was very tough for a lot of people, but for online entrepreneurs, they saw immediate increase in clients and in business. So then 2021, a little into 22, and then all of a sudden it starts to, I don't know about go back to where it was. It's just different. 23 is different. And like you mentioned, man, AI, like I don't think you and I know really the extent of what's happening right now with AI behind the scenes with everything. And I'm starting to pick up these different companies out there that are 100% AI driven for ad spend. And I don't know, I think it's going to change things dramatically. You can see it with ChatGPT and the blog writing and things like that, and people utilizing these different tools to produce a lot more content. And I don't really know if that helps people or not. It depends on the circumstances. But I think at the end of the day, what we're not seeing right now is all the AI behind the scenes, behind the curtains right now. And I think if anything, we know it's going to continue to change, and probably at a faster rate as well.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And yeah, like everything else in the world of advertising has completely changed since COVID, like you said. So it makes it even more unpredictable. And I think this goes back to why you need that team behind you that's managing those numbers for you. So if your advertising is down in quarter one this year, you can look back and say, okay, is this a trend in quarter one of every year? Or is this something I need to take very seriously and make an immediate adjustment? Because the wrong decision there can cripple you, right? If you make an adjustment too soon before you had a chance to turn around, then that's disastrous. And if you wait too
Right.
long, that can cost you 6 figures easily. So I think that's why you have to know those numbers inside and out, know what you have done historically, seasonally, quarterly, whatever it is. And if something's off track, then you need to look serious of, do I need to make an adjustment going forward?
No, I love that. Like you said, when you start, because we're not just giving you the accounting, we're doing financial analysis. Like we're looking, slicing and dicing the data. So like you said, is Q1 typically soft, right? What's happening that's causing that? And just being able to see, okay, what happened in the last 3 years in Q1, right? What was going on at the time, and trying to paint a picture. And then two is just maybe you have 3 different advertising thrusts in your strategy, breaking those down, not just having one ad spend, like breaking those down to the 3 and how they've been performing individually. So maybe you're crushing it in Instagram, nothing's happening with the other 2. So being able to react to that as well. And I think you bring up a great point, is not reacting too slow or not reacting too fast.
Yeah. And like you said, that's individual to each individual entrepreneur, right? Like we can't sit there and say, hey, this is when you need to react. This is what you need to look at. And even like ratios, people want to know, what type of ratio should I be looking at as a return on my advertising? And It's just so hard to say because every industry is different. And then even every business within that industry is different. Again, it just goes back to that's where you want to track it. What have you historically been getting a return on? Is it starting to go way down? Is it starting to go way up? And then talk to your marketing experts of, okay, what could be the reason for that? Is this happening throughout the entire industry or throughout the entire business world that there's a big decrease? Or is it just individual to me or just individual to my industry? All those questions are super important and why you need, number one, the accounting team we always talk about, they have to be there to analyze those numbers for you. And then the marketing experts that can take that analysis of the numbers and say, okay, this is what we think might be going on. This is how we'd recommend moving forward.
Yeah, no, it's it's awesome point is that like we have a certain number of online entrepreneurial clients, right? And so we can tell with client to client, we obviously don't share the information, but we can tell trends. And then two is having that marketing team. And sometimes you have to pull the plug on your marketing team if they're not producing results. We've seen that before too. Like people hold on to their marketing team because there's an established relationship or there's a friendship there. But all of a sudden they change marketing teams and boom, the results just skyrocket. So again, yeah, I think the crux of this whole podcast is just being able to have a new way of looking at your ad spend and your ROI and looking at it as an investment. And really being, can we get the data and the information needed to make those decisions both up and down? And again, the game of the game is to optimize your business, optimize your performance, optimize your profitability. Hopefully the audience heard our message loud and clear. Is there anything you want to finish up with, Josh?
No, I'd say just, you mentioned it's an investment and I agree. And I think just like any other investment, it can be a good investment or it can be a bad investment. And you need the numbers, you need the right team, and you need the experts to show you what that is and how you can adjust if it's not going well.
Yeah. Awesome. Hey, we always appreciate being with you. Thanks, audience. Still getting some really positive reviews, good questions. So thank you very much. And Josh, always a pleasure being with you.
Yeah.
Until
See you next time.
All right. Thanks now.